Hello, everyone. This is Ashraf, and today I'm with Hari as usual, back with another episode of Arsenal Podcast. Um, yeah, so this is our fourth episode, and we had a lot of talking. We've done a lot of talking beforehand, and I think it's come to the point where I think, given the context of the three matches that Arsenal have gone through, um, we need to kind of talk this, but have another a discussion about where this club is going, and I think I don't know. How are you feeling, Harit? Is 5 days enough for you to kind of um cool down after the horrific performance that we had against the Man City side, Manchester City game? How are you feeling?
To be honest, it was something that I was expecting in terms of performance quality against Man City. The fact that we don't have our key players still for the Man City game, we don't have Partey, who's supposed to be the man in the center of the park for our midfield. The
Mm.
result was expected. I think if you listen to our prediction last week, I made the perfect prediction at halftime.
You
We'll
made the right
be
call.
trailing 3-0.
Yeah, 3
So
nil in halftime.
uh
You
my
called it.
expectation wasn't that high in the first place, so I'm recovering quite well. But most importantly, looking forward to what's
Mm.
next. With
Were you
the
were
signings that
you
we have made.
were
Yeah.
you were you deeply impacted from the loss, in the manner that we managed to perform that day? Were you at all? Are you disheartened by our performance more than the state of progress that this club is going? You know, for the future. What
Somewhere at
what
the
bothers
bottom
you
of my
more?
heart, obviously, somewhere at the bottom of my heart, definitely feel very very sad to see how we have performed and how poorly we have
Mm,
defended as a team. Seeing how easy Man City broke our defensive simple ball into the penalty area, and no one seemed to be able to clear those simple ball into the penalty.
yeah.
It's just so sad to see it. But
Mm.
um yeah, so just to be frank, it somehow broke me a little to see how bad we played.
Yeah.
But again,
Mm.
you know,
I guess that's why we took about 5 days after the game to do this recording session, just to kind of gather our thoughts and calm down emotionally, and as well physically and mentally. I have been affected by that game. It ruined my weekend quite a lot after that game. It was the first game of the weekend, so you can imagine my
oh
weekend
no.
was quite depressing after seeing that game. And I think 5 days after that game, I think after listening to a few opinions on other podcasts as well, and different articles written about where this club is progressing, the direction that we are taking, I think um, I've been able to make a clearer uh, opinion on what's going on, basically, with Arsenal. um,
Yeah, I
yeah.
think you're right.
So
The fact that we only talk about it a few days after such
yeah, not directly
a
after,
tragic weekend for all the yeah, we don't want to be emotional when we talk about this kind of
mm,
aftermath of a 5-0 defeat and
yeah, it's
0 points from three
very
games with
very
nine
difficult to
goals.
ignore, the facts when you lose in such a manner, that we did against Man City. The facts are that Arsenal is a rebuilding team. We played a lot of young players, and we bought a lot of young players with the expectation that they're not going to be able to bring points earlier in their career in Arsenal shirt. So with that in mind, I think we need to kind of take a step back and understand the direction that the manager is taking. But people are people are saying that this direction, um is it fitting of a club of Arsenal size? You think, how are you, how are you kind of dealing with the fact that Arsenal is not, how do I say it? It's not up to the level of Chelsea and City, but we are depending on these players to kind of develop into world class players, and it might take some time. It might take a few points of our from our league. How are you accepting that? You know,
Um,
how are you accepting that situation?
yeah, for me, it's all about the long term now, because there's no point um talking about how what could be better, right? I mean, it's
Yeah.
all done and dusted. So for me, in the past few games, a lot of things didn't go the way that we wanted it to be in terms of player
Mm,
availability, in terms of signings and outgoings, meaning that we have to play in a new system that the manager wants without the squad that he envisions to play that style with.
mm,
So basically, it's obviously at the moment 0 points from 9 games is not what everyone wants to see. And given that we've been playing a very, very difficult match in the first 3 games, it doesn't help as well. Since the first game week, I already expected that going away at a newly promoted club in the first
it's
season
gonna be
where
difficult.
fans can come back, it's not going to be easy, especially with a squad like Brentford. I have a lot of respect for Brentford, and that's why when we lost 2-0, it's not something that it triggers me to, like, come up with Arteta out kind of,
Mm,
moment.
yeah.
It's not like that, because English Premier League is the best league in the world. All the clubs in the league have proved
Competitive.
themselves to be there. They are Brentford have done in many years improving their squad in terms of their squad building, tactical abilities, and just the whole spirit of the club. And Arsenal at the moment is
Mm,
not where they want to be. So
mm,
it's about what we're gonna do next with the players that we have. I think the board and the club has backed Arteta with the players that he wants.
yeah.
Um, at the right profile, 21 to 23 years old, who's came in. At goalkeeper, we have a new signing that's going to push Leno to perform better. He has done quite
Yeah.
poorly
I hope he
in
can
the
replace
past.
Leno.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's the point, right? At Arsenal,
Mm,
we should not accept mediocrity. So everyone should push to their absolute best. And if Xhaka can't perform and Sambi is doing better, Arteta
yeah.
should put Sambi in the first
Somebody
team.
should, exactly.
Yeah, so
Um,
that's the whole way I'm thinking about this situation.
that's the whole point of Arsenal.
Yeah, it's a
mm,
project.
well, it's all, it's all. I think it's quite an apple and oranges comparison. Where we talk about Arsenal and the situation that they are rebuilding a team with a very young squad and all that. Do you think a different manager would do better with this current crop of players? We've got quality in the squad. In uh, Saka, Aubameyang, and Emil Smith Rowe. Not to forget as well Odegaard, Martin Odegaard, who's has shown he has the quality to kind of perform in the Premier League as well. Uh, do you think a different manager, say for example, a manager of the Brighton manager, who's his name, the Brighton manager?
Graham Potter.
Yeah, Graham Potter. Do you think a manager of Graham Potter's portfolio and successes would do a much better job than Mikel Arteta right now in terms of collecting points at least?
To be honest, I think we should not discount what is going behind the scenes at Arsenal Football Club at the moment. So it's easy from our perspective to think that anyone who comes in can do a better job than Mikel Arteta. I mean,
Yeah.
we've seen in the past there's a lot of noise about players who don't want to be there, and Arteta without the team he wants, he is forced to play those players, and
Mm,
even at the start of a season without the key players, he's still stuck with the same issue. So to his, I mean, to not discredit and not to respect him, I think
mm,
it's not the case. I mean, anyone would probably be in Mikel Arteta's situation now would
yeah.
have probably walked away, and respectfully Arteta has stick to what he wants to do, and tries to develop the players.
Yeah.
He's he wants to succeed in this position, and he wants to
Mm,
show that he is able to do so. So I think anyone would face the same challenges in to be in his position and probably not succeed
mm.
as well.
What would you say is Mikel Arteta's redeeming quality to kind of back him uh, against this a run of terrible performances? What do you think? What do you see his qualities are? That the board currently likes so much about Mikel Arteta. Because I think uh, for me the answer is um he has shown that he has the kind of he has I think the main reason Mikel Arteta is brought in, as the manager is, the board and the backroom staff realizes there's kind of this discrepancy between the players' culture in the changing room. There seems to be a lack of kind of strict and regimented structure that Mikel Arteta has brought upon to this kind of players. You see the treatment that he does to certain players that does not follow his code. Um his code of conduct. For example, like Mesut Ozil, and to a certain extent, Aubameyang as well. When he was late to a game, you see the kind of treatment that he makes he does to his players, regardless of the players, salary and all that. I think that's the one quality that the board recognizes, is that the discipline, and trying to say enough is enough. Cut with the bullshit, and let's have winning players inside this club. And for me, that's the answer. I don't know about you. So what do you think is Mikel Arteta redeeming quality? Shit. Hello. Hello.
Hello,
Wait.
hello.
Disconnected.
But it's still
Oh shit.
recording, I think.
Jap,
Is
aku
your
pause sekejap.
saying it's still recording? Tak ada wifi in
Hello.
front nak buat podcast. Yes.
Aduh, sorry.
Sekali.
Aku just cut this bit ni lah from the. So the question was. what do you think Mikel Arteta's redeeming qualities are? Considering the performance of the three games, not much has been shown in terms of being the manager of the team. By having the composure of maybe setting up the plays in a certain style to fit the game plan. Against a very strong Chelsea and Man City team. I think M- what Mikel Arteta is trying to do is he's trying to bring a change of culture. You know, from being the Arsenal that sits back against the top, say, new top four teams like with the like of Chelsea, Man City, and Man United. Recent years have shown that Arsenal like to sit back and maybe counter attack. So they have lost the kind of uh, confidence and the conviction of play that we are used to see with Arsene Wenger. Especially during the invisible era. So I think he's trying to bring back that confidence and the conviction, the style of the the kind of conviction that we are used to seeing. So that has backfired, I think, against teams that have better players that we have right now. So that that's why I think it's going to take time for the players to kind of gel in to the idea and the ideology and the philosophy that Mikel Arteta wants to play. And I think that's the redeeming quality, and I think that's why the board trusts Mikel Arteta so much. Uh, what what's your answer? What's your kind of opinion on that?
Um, I think what I think about the plan is that I think management as a whole, together with Arteta, is going to stick with the plan that they have on their paper right now. Basically, right, to say that look, we have so many players who's not um, fit to be an Arsenal player. We have to accept that we need to rebuild this, and the way to do it is to bring a good crop of young players with good potential, and we're going to build around these players for the future. So everyone, I think Vinay, the board, Kronke, and backroom staff accepted that this is the way to go, and they are willing to sacrifice the points upfront
Mm,
to see through to a stage where all these players are comfortable to play
mm-hmm,
with each other with the style that they want to be, and to show the results. Like, so basically, if you look at last season, when after Odegaard came into the team, after a few games, they basically started to be comfortable with a certain style of play, with
mm,
Odegaard building the game. And this happens not overnight, it happens after a few games when Odegaard becomes a key figure in the team. So disappointingly, we did not have Odegaard at preseason to actually train and also um, be comfortable with this kind of play. So we missed a crucial part of the season where everyone is actually practicing the tactics with the players that they
mm,
need. So losing the preseason to do this is actually damaging, in the sense that we are we started the season with Man City and Chelsea in the first few games. So there's no way for Arsenal to build upon the tactics that they want to play. So imagine if you, in the next couple of games, I think it's more optimistic to see what is the game plan that Arteta and the backroom staff have been planning for Arsenal, right, with this new crop of players. Because in the next few games, you see that we're going to play um, probably a more um, playable fixture to gain points, and to
mm.
actually put into play the tactics that they want to show. So
Yeah,
those redeeming qualities is about sticking to your plan, to Arteta's plan, and actually getting the fruits of the labor without a knee jerk reaction.
yeah. So I guess from your point of view, I think you can already see, um, because some people might argue that you look at Jose Mourinho, he's been at Roma not more than 2 months, and you can already see the results that he's having. He won 2-0 and 4-0 with Roma. Where else? Maybe with Mikel Arteta. Um, Even though during his first half season he won the FA Cup, but the performance in the league was you know was the kind of performance that we see now during this season, and as well as last season. I guess you can blame the manager um, as much as you can, but when you look at the players right now, I've read in an article the current during the Unai Emery era, the kind of players that they bring. For example, like Lucas Torreira, Nicola Pepe, who else? Matteo Guendouzi. These kind of players are brought in to kind of suit Unai Emery brand of football, which is to defend against any team, defend in a very low block, and then use the counter attack as a kind of main input of getting goals. So you see this kind of profile of players that they brought in during those times. With Pepe, he was very quick on his feet, but when two or three players pressure him, he he seems like he does not justify the 70 million price tag. He looks like a maybe $10 million player from Birmingham, for example. And Lucas Torreira, even though he has good moments with the club, maybe the kind of brand that Arteta wants to play, which is a more possession based, strong on the foot as well as strong physically. He's not gonna fit that profile. So I guess with Mikel Arteta, he's trying to undo, maybe 2 or 3 seasons of mismanagement and shit, shit recruitment basically. um, so
Yep.
I think people
Yeah.
don't understand that situation that this manager is facing, and people can put can say, oh, he's a shit manager. Look at his Premier League rankings in past 2 seasons. But the kind of squad that he has would make any manager, regardless of the kind of play that said manager wants to play. No manager wants to manage this current squad. I say a couple times to you, I think if they bring in Conte, I don't see any way that Conte can improve this squad. Do you agree? You know, Conte barely scrapes with the Chelsea team.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, when Conte won
Probably up to
with the Chelsea. Yeah,
I
you were
think
saying.
probably up to a certain point, Conte
Mm,
would probably get some result out of his players, but
yeah,
um,
but
to
in terms of the long
uh,
term, which is the plan
yeah,
right
so
now.
because we're talking about the long term, as you already said,
Yeah.
we should not look at it as a 3 games league. It's a
Mm,
38 games league.
yeah.
It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. So
Yeah.
these people, individuals like Ateta,
Mm,
Vinay, Edu has been entrusted with the responsibilities to manage the club. So they are professional. So I think they have
mhm,
the um, capabilities and the plans that have been shown to the board to show that this is what they're going to do and this is the trajectory and improvements that you're going to see. So
yeah.
basically, if the board doesn't agree up front, they would have already sacked Arteta during the winter break,
Yeah.
during the summer break. So
Mm.
as a fan from outside perspective, we should, I think, as much as we can, we should
Oh man.
unite and support the players and the management to give their best shot to get a result and not just criticize too much without giving the runway. So I mean,
Mm,
it's 3 games into the season, and we still have a lot of fixtures. This is not going to define the season, so
Mm.
we should give everyone a chance to prove themselves.
Yeah, I I would like to say as well during the Manchester City game, the first 10 minutes, I kind of see, you know, the first fruits of labor of, Mikel Arteta's game plan, where they press high, uh, up to the Manchester City defense, and you see during the first 10 minutes, the City players seem unsettled. They don't have the kind of swagger that we are used to see with Manchester City during the first 10 minutes, and then when they had the first
Yep.
chance, when fucking Callum Chambers missed a very easy opportunity to clear the ball, even though people say it was a looping ball, but I think a play of his height, advantage against the goal scorer, which is Ilkay Gundogan, who's about, maybe probably 6 inches clear. He should clear that ball, and he didn't. And the goal was scored. And after that, we were shit. And it's it's becoming of a recurring theme with Arsenal. When we start very good, we seem confident with the game plan, and then when shit happens, everybody just basically, jump ship. They they don't believe in the captain anymore, and they jump ship, and they lose any kind of control and confidence, which I think has to be put blamed to the players. Don't you think?
Yeah,
These
I think
players
I
need
agree
to
with
be
you.
more
So
accountable.
basically, from my perspective, it's boiled down to two things, right? So basically, we have Arteta is forced to play a player who is not fit for the first team in the club like
Mm,
Arsenal. No confidence at all with their own ability, and secondly, we clearly lack leadership in the team. So basically, last
mm,
year we have David Luiz who played that leadership role. Although sometimes, I mean, although he's not the club captain, but at the back, leadership is very important. So if you see all the big clubs and even Arsenal at the best of times, you need to have those players who's a rock in the team to just
mm,
steer the team and all those young players to show what they can do. So without those clear leadership, and I think we've discussed about this, whether Oba is the right person to be captain, right?
yeah.
And to be the rock in the team. This is the consequence of that. So basically, when one bad thing happen, you don't have someone who can say to the team like, look, let's just march
Yeah.
on
Let's just
and
get.
just
Yeah.
play how we have trained. So we don't
Mm,
have that person. So you cannot. I don't think it's anything to blame to Arteta when your player missed that kind of header,
yeah.
and the second goal, your defender missed a clearance again,
Yeah.
leading to a second simple goal. So what is there to blame with Arteta?
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
basically
I,
him
it's
being forced to play with these players who's just
it's not
not in the
confident,
right
with
mental
the
space.
game.
No confidence. So one bad thing happens,
Yeah.
just culminate to another 4 goals in a short span of time. Like,
Yeah.
don't you think it's something wrong with the players and not the manager?
Mm. I think as well, it's a combination of, maybe a season of not performing well, and then 2 games before we lost again, against Brentford and Chelsea. I think as well that boils down to basically what happened in the City game was a shit show of of the kind of mental impact of uh, said bad times, and
Yep.
I think the only way that I see to kind of navigate through this is basically to play your new players. We have to play Ben White, and Gabriel, who's coming back to fitness. Hopefully the new signing, Tomiyasu in right back, could kind of fill in the shoes that Bellerin has left. Quite a small shoe to fill in. And then in left back, we I hope that Kirintini is able to kind of perform right to the level that he is. You know, he's a very good player, and those 3 games, I struggle to see uh, his performance as the kind of his top level performance. I really hope that this international break does uh, gives Arsenal the kind of much needed rest to kind of reset, to kind of forget these 3 games, and just basically focus on the next game, which is against Norwich, and try to win that game. Yeah. Hello. Wait. Hello. 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 Sh- Hello. Yeah. So, macam mana nak start?
Yes.
Um, yeah. Aku, what was my point? I think. Okay. Aku cakap.
Can you say what we look
Okay,
for
aku
after
start balik.
international break?
Uh, so I hope that during macam mana cakap, this international break gives Arteta the time that he needs to kind of reset. Not to say reset, but I think a gap between the games is crucial given the context of the game, or of the previous games. The team needs to kind of sit down and
Yeah.
relax. Basically, they need to believe in the game plan more right now. Forget about the 3 losses, and hopefully against Norwich we could see the fruits of labor that Mikel Arteta is trying to bring. The kind of very high press, high possession football that we know, that we hope that the players can achieve against Norwich. So yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's definitely right, right? After these 3 really, really bad defeats, we need the time off. I think the players also, I think, welcome the international break just to play with their in their international teams,
Yeah.
and those who's not
Yeah.
uh, being called
Mm.
up can just take some time to just reflect on their performances, each and every one of them. So just to probably be confident again, right? So basically, they have the abilities. They need to show that they are up to the standard to play for Arsenal FC. Against Norwich, we have the perfect opportunity to redeem, as a team and also individually, to play to prove that they
Yeah.
they have what it takes to perform for the manager and to make the fans united again, right? So basically, we've just came I mean all the fans have just came back to the
Yeah.
stadium. The players need to sort of give something to them to look forward to, and not just continue in this. really really poor form. So at home at the Emirates, traditionally in the past we have been performing well against Norwich.
Yeah.
We have seen all the famous goals last time, like the Jack Wilshere, Arsenal
Mm.
ball kind of goals. So this is the perfect time for all the players to kick on and start our season.
Okay, we're back to part two. I think part two, second half of this podcast. Um, so during the first half, we talked about the current direction of this club, our feelings and emotions after the game, and um, the game against Norwich being the kind of true litmus test of Mikel Arteta's labor. The kind of training that he trainings and uh, his philosophy of the game. We hope that the Norwich would be the kind of real test. I guess kind of like when uh, you are getting your driver's license, and the final test against the final test of driving. I think that's the real test for Mikel Arteta. Um, for this part two session, I would like to go deeper into the players. Uh, so in I think we need to have that kind of discussion. The players, especially certain type of players, that I would like to name. Firstly, with Granit Xhaka. So I've heard the podcast, Ask Blog podcast, the recent Ask Blog podcast, and they had the discussion about whether or not Granit Xhaka can kind of tone down, his style of play throughout his Arsenal career. He has shown multiple times that he can have that moment of lacking discipline where he kind of lunges to opponent, and his hot-headedness as well does not bode well to the referee. And we see Granit Xhaka uh, with he has positives as a player. He can bring positive to a team, no doubt about that. But certain moments in his career, um, is it really worth it to have a player like Granit Xhaka who's maybe have the temperamental of, say, Cristiano Ronaldo or Roy Keane during those ages, but in terms of footballing terms, he hasn't he hasn't justified that temperament. He can be very hot-headed at times, and during crucial moments of the season, he can he can turn the team around. We can have a few games playing well with him in the team, and then suddenly during the fourth game he can have a shit moment, and all goes downhill from there. So my question is, do you think what do you think of Granit Xhaka? What can you make of Granit Xhaka?
Um, I think this topic is always difficult, right? About Xhaka, whether who is failing who,
Yeah.
and on one hand, you can say that he has been failing the club because of all the incidents that is indirectly or directly caused by him having a red card, and sort of all the poor clearance, poor back pass that we have so commonly faced in the
Yeah.
past few years that he's been around. It surely points at him not being the right player for the club. But when you
Mm.
look at the Euros, how good was he, right? So
Yeah.
basically, he has been the rock in the Switzerland's team. They've been performing well. He's a captain. Everyone loves him. So I think we this is the perfect time to actually see the value of Xhaka in the team.
Hmm.
Um, we have reset a lot of our players. We have sold and loaned out all the dead woods. I mean,
Hmm.
most of the dead woods.
Yeah.
Um, it's time to show some trust in Xhaka. The fact that he is the leader that we need to rely on in this time, because we don't have all the senior players anymore, and Xhaka is the senior player that we have to
Hmm.
basically to lead the junior players.
Hmm.
Like for example, Sambi is still 21, so he still needs the guidance from the senior player.
Yeah.
Shaka at international level have shown that, and we should not discount the fact that he is still a professional player for Arsenal. Um, at this point in time, when everything is so bad and we don't see any light at the end of the tunnel,
Hmm.
my gut feel is the best thing to do now is to trust
Yeah.
Zaka and to
Yeah.
let him show that he is the leader that we need, and
Yeah.
to fully support him when he's playing, and not to boo him whenever he's back on the pitch. So it's not just not the
Yeah.
right thing to do.
I I have no doubts of the positives that you just talk about. When we talk about your Granit Xhaka, he does bring that kind of he has that capability of rallying up his teammates and kind of um be the hype man. He does bring that alleged winning mentality, but at times his decision making purely from a footballing standpoint, I think Arsene Wenger has talked about this. His tackles being a bit dangerous at times, and I think one of his interview he did say Granit Xhaka needs to stop tackle, needs to stop tackling
Tackling.
players, and that was that might be 6 or 7 years ago, and Arsene Wenger has predicted Granit Xhaka's weakness in terms of tackling. He does have that kind of fuck you kind of style when he tackles a player. He likes to lunge quite far from the player. He gains 4 or 5 yards when he lunges using his both foot, and even though when he arrives at the player, he only one feet is up, but the style that he does that tackle does not bode well to how the referee view his tackle. So that's why I think he's been punished so
Punish. Yeah,
much.
yeah,
So
definitely.
and yeah,
Those side of the game he needs to be better, right?
yeah,
So
and the question was during the podcast, the podcast is whether or not he is able to change his style of play. I think coaches are fully aware of his mechanics, and coaches, I think you've got to be blind, or either blind or stupid, to not tell Xhaka to kind of tone down his tackling. But 6 years at the club, he there's no sign of recuperancy. He is still that kind of player, and it comes to the point of is it worth it you know to play, to have this kind of player in our team. And I think I don't know. I don't know what to make of Granit Xhaka after that game, because it's it's a familiar view. And I'm not at all bothered by it, because he's done it a few times now, and it's I don't know, man.
I think there's only one way to do it right now, right? So basically,
Yeah,
we've crossed the bridge where we allegedly renewed Chaka's contract.
yeah,
So the only way we can improve the situation now is basically to trust him to guide the younger players in
yeah,
Sambi, and over time we reduce our reliance on Zaka as a first team player. Um, and most of the time, when Sambi is ready and he is going to partner Pate in midfield. Hence, we will only play Xhaka in the less risky games when when emotions aren't high.
Yeah.
So that's a tactic that I would employ if I were the manager, and see that this tendency is happening again, especially the red card at City, right? So
Mm.
we know that referees are possibly a bit more biased when they see Zaka flying with their tackles,
Yeah.
and against other players who do the similar tackles, they probably don't
Yeah.
brandish a red card. So
Yeah. Case in
knowing
point,
this,
the Pogba tackle.
yeah, exactly, definitely. So basically, you there's only one way out of this, right? To basically use what we have to reduce our reliance on Zaka, but at the same time respecting that he is a senior player. We do not, at this
Mm.
point in time when you've already basically used the strategy that, look, Xhaka is the only senior player we have in midfield, apart from Partey, who's going to be either injured at most times
Yeah.
or off to African nations. You should use the best of the ability of the resources you have, and over time play the younger players. It's not the time for us to
Mm.
look and say Xhaka is not the player that we need,
Yeah.
because it's not going to help anyone. So I
Yeah.
mean, obviously, if we
Thi-
have a blank sheet of paper, obviously you don't want to have Xhaka in the team,
Okay. So
with
so
this
you
kind of
you think
reputation.
he should be sold to Roma for 50 million?
Um,
Was that a
Looking
good
back,
deal?
definitely
You think?
that's the best course of
Yeah.
action, right? Looking back,
if if
we've probably
Mikel
gotten
Arteta has a
15
time
million.
machine that can look into the future, I think yeah he would have
Yeah,
sold Granit Xhaka for less 15 million.
the,
I think he
I
would have sell
mean,
he would sell for 10 million if we look uh
yeah,
retrospectively.
yeah. Looking back, definitely that's hindsight is 2020, right? You would
Yeah,
definitely just look, Roma, just take Xhaka, we just take the 15 million and probably buy me Sabitzer for that money,
yeah,
and
or
have
Locatelli.
a baller in the team, right?
Yeah,
But
I now see your point of going all out for Locatelli.
definitely, it's this is
Yeah.
the hole that we have in the team.
Mm. He fits the profile. He's still young, 23, and
He's tough,
he
but he's not reckless.
yeah, yeah.
So basically, that's the gap that my ideal signing would be
That's
Locatelli in the
that's
last.
the key word there. Reckless.
Yeah, he's reckless,
Something.
but
Yeah. I would
something
suit
that you can't
Zaka with.
change when a player is already 28 years old.
Yeah.
He's set in his ways.
Mm. He's such a contradicting player, Granit Xhaka, because when he's not playing for us, when he's injured or maybe he's serving a ban, we see uh the we can see that we miss him in the team, when he's not playing, but and then
When
when
he's
he
playing,
does,
you're
when he's
crying.
playing,
You're crying
people
because
forget
he got
about
a
his
red card.
yeah his positive, and then against a team during a very important point of the season, he does that kind of things.
Yep, it's very
So
frustrating for an
it's
Arsenal fan and the manager.
it's like a microcosm of uh the kind of
It's the,
Arsenal situation,
it's the
it's
paradox of
we
Xhaka.
yeah, paradox of Xhaka, mirroring what's happening to Arsenal as a club. Yeah. Um, what else should we talk about? Yeah. What do you think about when you signing Tomiyasu? Who I've never heard his name before. When we when we sign him, I've never heard of Tomiyasu, to be honest. So I'm sure you've seen a few of his. Shit, offline. Fuck. Oh, hello. Aduh, disconnect lagi.
Part 3.
Part 3. Bodoh lah. Aduh, nak kena edit dia. Kat mana aku stop tadi?
The paradox of Xhaka.
Paradox So aku tak masuk pasal Tomiyasu lagi kan?
Tak. Dia,
Okay.
part 3 ya, Tomiyasu.
Part 3 lah. Part 3 lah, bodoh saya. Um, Sekejap anak aku bangun pula. Gigi jap aku pindah jap. Struggle. Hello. Hello. Oh, struggle. Dengar? Hello? Hello? Aduh, tak apa. Dah start record dah. Okay. So, kat mana soalan tadi? Tomiyasu. Okay. Part 3 lah. Okay. Okay. So, we're back. Part 3 of our podcast. Technical difficulties have forced me to to cut this podcast into three sessions. So the third installment of this podcast, I would like to ask Harid of our outcomings and incomings of the final day of the transfer window. And I would like to start with I think the elephant in the room is the new right back or centre back, Japanese right back, Tomiyasu. What's his full name?
Takehiro
Takeharu
Tomiyasu.
Tomiyasu from Bologna, a Japanese player. Um, Quite tall, he's 188 centimeters high, about 6 foot 5 4 inches. Is he the solution for the right back crisis that we know and we are completely familiar with Arsenal? Is he the solution for Mikel Arteta's woes? Do you think he's gonna bring?
We we don't have any proof at this point in time, but I'm kind of optimistic
Hmm.
about Tomiyasu
Yeah.
signing. Looking at his physique, I think there's less chance of us looking at highlights of our right back being bullied. In the past, we were so familiar to see Bellerin and Cedric not being able to head the ball
Yeah.
to clear when there's a ball at a corner to the far post, um, and a cross from left wing, from
Mm.
the left
Mm.
wing into the penalty
Mm.
area, and uh, probably we'll see less of that with Tomiyasu's physique, and his statistics have also shown that he's better than all of our
Yeah.
defenders in
I
all
Yeah.
areas.
In
In
all
all
area, yeah.
areas.
I've seen a
Yeah, so
comparison
that's something promising.
with Tottenham's new signing from Barcelona, Emerson Royal.
Emerson
Yeah,
Royal.
he's. Have you seen that comparison? The diamond, the kind of star
Um,
statistic. Yeah,
no, I did not.
he seems
I have
like
not.
the deal of the century. When we see that statistic, basically he's like he's like a complete player. Um,
I think he is.
yeah,
I think we have a gem in our
yeah.
books.
and he's young as well. Fits the profile. 23, 22.
23
Yeah,
years old.
he's
Amazing.
young.
At only 16 million
I
pound.
think the only thing bad about
What a
him
steal.
is he has the um, Hector Bellerin mustache going on. That's the that's the only bad I can say about him.
I think he's Japanese, so he is allowed to have that.
Yeah, yeah,
Hector Bellerin is Spanish and he is a model.
yeah. But
So I think for Tomiyasu to have that mustache is something that we should
I'm
be proud of.
yeah. I'm inclined to kind of say this. Him having the I'm hoping that him having the kind of the same style of facial hair as Hector Bellerin is not the sign of things to come. Yeah. Mm.
No, let's let's be more optimistic and
Yeah.
and not look it that
Yeah.
way. When I look, one of the interesting fact was that I think Hector Bellerin over last season made more foul throws than all the teams combined.
Yeah.
So that's one of the statistic that we will not see anymore in this season. Hopefully, with a right
Yeah.
back that knows how to do a throw in, that's something promising.
So unlucky for a player to be known as the guy the guy who can't take throw-ins.
That's disappointing. Hopefully, he knows to throw a thing or
Yeah.
two in Real Betis.
Yeah. Do you think he's gonna start against Norwich?
I think
Yeah,
so. I
yeah.
think
Given the
it's ridiculous for Arteta not to start
yeah,
Tomiyasu against
I think the
Norwich.
context of
I
the
think I think Arteta out should be all over the pitch when we don't see Tomiyasu in the
yeah,
starting
yeah.
11.
Yeah, given the even though I think we have quite a few players in that position, but none of them, are able to perform at the right level.
None of them are proper baller,
Yeah,
but we have a baller now. We should look
yeah.
forward.
I think that's the only incoming that we had during the final day.
The new
Yeah, yeah,
incoming,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. That's the only new players that we signed. Think more prevalent is the players that we let go in, regardless of loan or selling to other clubs. Uh, what do you make of? I would like to ask you about what's his name. Oh my god, shit! I'm having a shit moment here. Weasley Maitland-Niles. Oh my god. What do you make of his
Oh,
situation?
Melanas. I think it's a kerfuffle that we should not have gone into the first place. Let's just say that they overlooked Maitland Niles in the transfer strategy, even though Maitland Niles have said before the preseason even starts that he wants to play and he wants for his issue to be solved upfront. But I think Edu and Ateta have so many issues
Hmm,
on their
yeah.
hand throughout the preseason and the start of the season. They just forgot about Maitland Niles.
Hmm.
And when the Everton offer came in for the loan of Maitland Niles, I think they just realized that, oh shit, we have Maitland Niles on our books still. And they have decided that, okay, I, I think they're gonna allow Maitland Niles to play
Yeah, but
in either
have you heard of
position,
the
but
rumors that
uh,
he's going to train with the under 23 team?
that was the
Yeah,
rumor
I'm not sure
when
whether it's true or not.
when his loan move was blocked. I think we should just take that as a pinch of salt
Mm,
because that happens in all football club when there's a player who's involved in a rumor, they will not train with the first team. So I think
okay.
we should not take look at that issue too seriously, but more on what's coming, right?
Mm,
So I rate Maitland Niles very highly as a right back, as a right
mm,
wing back. So there's also a rumor that says that we're going to play with a three centre back and a wing back in the upcoming games after the international break. So there's a chance after the talks between Maitland Niles and Arteta that they will play Maitland Niles now.
yeah,
So if
but
he's going to play at right wing
mm,
back, I think that's something that is
w-
exciting.
w-
He has done well in the
mm,
past.
what do you make of his Instagram post when he said that he wants to play at a club that wants him to play, and then he tags Arsenal? What do you think? What do you make of that post? For me, I think it's a bit of a childish move from Ainsley Maitland-Niles. You're a professional football player who's been paid. He's been paid to kind of be there, even though he's not playing. I think he he needs to get advice. People around him in the club needs to advise him more the- in order to properly conduct his behavior, and think more when posting things on social media. But do you think that's it for him after he did that?
Um, I for me, it was something that we should not have happened at a club like Arsenal, and he should have known better not to express his frustration in that manner. Because, again, as you said, they are all professional footballers. But I don't think it's the end of him at the club,
Hmm.
because if it is so, they would have let him go on loan
Yeah, but is it
to
kind?
any
Is it
club.
is it is it Mikel Arteta, kind of move of punishing the player by not letting him sign on loan to the budding Everton team? Uh,
I think that's a bit unprofessional on
but
Arteta's side as well, to punish a player like that,
it's
because
it's not
it
far
will
fetched though. I
affect
think
him.
Mikel Arteta is capable of doing such things. He's
Yeah, but I don't think he is willing to risk his career to have a player who's unhappy, and um spread the unhappiness throughout the whole
yeah.
squad, and it's just going to jeopardize his um plans for the upcoming
Hmm.
games. It's no nonsense for him to act in that
Yeah.
manner. Why would someone, if I mean, it's just possible that the players will side with either Arteta or Maitland Niles in that
Yeah.
situation, right? So for him to risk his managerial time at Arsenal with Ainsley Maitland Niles unhappiness, I think it's ridiculous.
Yeah. So I think let's move on to other outcomings. Willian is finally gone. permanent
Oh, class act by Willian. Class act by Willian.
permanent signing
Mutual consent
to
termination.
Corinthians. And
Yeah, I think it's a win-win
yeah,
situation for everyone.
I think at the end of the day, he, even though things have not worked out as planned with him, but I think he looking at the social media post about him, the Arsenal Twitter saying good luck to him in Corinthian, and I think things could have gone worse. But I think both sides of the situation with Arsenal and Willian um, did the right thing in terms of signing off the player. And yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, I think it's the best way to end this situation with
Mm,
Willian, to be honest. Like, there's no, it's just not meant to be. We are in a difficult situation. No fans. Willian um are not able to show what he is able to
yeah.
do, like what he did in during his Chelsea times. He's a great player. It's just unfortunate that he joins Arsenal at a
Mm,
difficult time, and all the fans are also, frustrated with the whole squad, and probably took it easy,
yeah.
and just blame it on Willian. So the fact that he's now left the club and back to Brazil,
Mm,
I think is the best
yeah.
solution.
It works both ways lah. I think Arsenal can finally move on from having a very,
Yeah.
he's a baggage for any club. He's on a
Yeah, huge
two hundred
salary.
thousand salary, and not performing well to justify that salary. So I think
Mm-hmm.
it's perf- in terms of, I'm not gonna go into, contractual uh rigor, but I think the,
Mm.
the 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 ethical thing to do is uh has been done. Yeah.
Yep. Agreed.
So hats
Fully
off
agreed.
to William. Thanks for the wonderful
Thanks for the
for the
memories.
memories.
Not great
It's time to
memories,
move
but
on.
yeah, I mean top assist for last season still.
What was this? How many assists that he
So I think he gave 7 assists. He's the top
really?
assist for the club. Can you
What
imagine? Willian is the top
is
assist.
that true?
Three in the first game of the season and four at the last few
Is that really
games.
true?
He is practically missing in the whole season. Only in the start at the start and at the end. Can you imagine? Willian is our top
What?
assist.
Really? Is that true?
You should have a check. You'll be surprised. We offload our top assist from last season.
Oh shit.
That's mind
That's
blowing,
mind
isn't it?
blowing. Yeah. Yeah. I'm not gonna dwell too much on that.
Give
Yeah,
you
yeah,
nightmare.
it gives me, creeps, yeah. Moving on to the second player, Reece Nelson. I think he gone on loan
Oh, perfect time
to
for him to move on.
to Feyenoord. Yeah.
Feyenoord.
I think that's
Mm.
a very good move. I think in terms both for both Arsenal and the player. I think Feyenoord is a very think technically an inept club. They produce the likes of Van Persie and who else? Yeah, I think that's a great move for him to kind of gain his confidence in a league where it's not too aggressive and too physical. I think he will flourish, and hopefully, if he does not end up, playing for us, I think he can be a very valuable asset to the team in terms of, maybe selling to other clubs. Uh, while he proves his value in a team that can benefit from his style of play. I think that's a great move for him and for Arsenal. Mm.
Yeah, think totally agree. The good thing on the deal is that he extended his contract by until 2023, which
Okay.
gives some room for if he performs well at Feyenoord,
Yeah.
there's some additional value
Yeah.
in Reece Nelson, so we might be able to sell him at a better
Mm.
fee when he comes
Mm.
back. But I think if you look at a lot of the loan moves previously, Dutch league is actually a good league for young
Mm.
players to
Yeah.
prove
Yeah.
themselves. I think we have. If you look closely, it's Odegaard, right? He went to
Mm.
um, SC
Yeah.
Heerenveen,
Yeah.
if I'm not
Mm.
mistaken, and that's where he actually played a lot of games and
His best games. Yeah.
developed his career and came back to Spanish league.
Agree.
So
Agree.
if Reece takes the opportunity, as how Odegaard
Mm-hmm.
took his,
Mm-hmm.
he'll be a baller and he'll perform
Yeah.
and kick on his career after this.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I agree with that assessment of, the Dutch league being a very friendly league for budding young players. Case in point, you see um, the 2009 2020 Ajax team, with the Frankie de
Mm,
Jongs, the um,
yep.
who else, the Riyad Mahrez, and these kind of players are very young and unproven, but they are able
Mm,
to perform and win the league. So I think,
yeah.
yeah,
Semi-final of Champions League
semi
in a
final,
young
yeah,
team too.
exactly. So I hope it goes very well for Reece Nelson. I think he as a player, from the point of view of fans, we don't have high expectation for him. We are not expecting him to become the first player in the next few years. But I really hope he can develop his game to a level where he can be a very valuable asset to us. And I think, yeah, I think he has the skills and the technical ability to be a very quality player. but I think what we can see from him playing in the Premier League is that he lacks the physicality needed, or maybe the temperament needed to kind of uh, be a quality player in the Premier League. Yeah, so I think the time that he's afforded now to develop his game is very good for him. Mm, yeah. So
Yeah, I think that's all the
it,
transfers, the key
yeah, is that
transfers
all?
that we have in the team.
I'm
Yeah,
sure
I
there's
think that's
another
all on the
one.
deadline day.
Uh,
Um,
oh yeah, Renison.
I
is
don't
it
think it's worth
is it
talking
worth
about it. I
discussing
hope
about
he
him?
plays. I hope he plays and just
Where is he?
be a
Where is he
footballer.
loaned to?
I think it's a Belgian
No.
side of OH Leuven. Uh, I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, good luck to
Good
him.
luck.
That's all. Good luck to Runeson.
What was the thinking behind me signing? I still.
Probably money laundering.
Oh man.
Probably money laundering
Yeah.
among, if anything.
Yeah. Yeah. He's the kind of player that he we cannot blame him for for performing at his level,
Yeah,
because
I mean,
he's not gonna be out.
but he was in the Iceland squad to the World Cup. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
In the 2008 World Cup, he is in the Iceland squad.
Yeah.
He has the he has the experience.
I
Just
think
that
we're,
I'm
yeah,
not
as
sure
well, we
why
are being too hard
he
on
signed
him.
for Arsenal.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, not not
Not everyone can be an Arsenal player, I
mhm,
think.
not much can be said about him. I think that's yeah, that's the end of the journey for him in the Arsenal shirt. I think
Yeah.
he's not gonna come back.
But we still have Shat Kolasinac.
Oh yeah, that's another player. What do you make
He's
of him
still on the
staying?
books.
Given the context of him during the transfer window, I think half of the summer they talk about moving him to other clubs, and suddenly he's back to playing in the first team. What do you think has changed?
No, I think nothing has changed. I think we just like lack of players, and at the back with all the injuries we have, and it's an easy decision just to
Yeah.
play him in the team when we needed player. He's like El Neni, I think, just a utility
Utility
player.
player.
Whenever there's a gap in the defense or in the team, they're just gonna call him up. I don't think he's gonna complain if he doesn't play because he's on the way out
Mm,
anyway.
but he
So
hasn't
as
gone
long
out.
as
He's still there.
yeah, so as long as he doesn't make any noise of not playing, I think it's perfectly fine to have him in the
Mm.
squad.
I have a slightly different opinion on the Kolasinac situation. I think he has gained the trust of the manager back. In certain ways. Case in point, Pablo Mari didn't play against City, even though he's the obvious second choice left centre back behind Gabriel. For some reason, Ateta chose Kolasinac, and to be fair to him, during the game, I don't think he has done much wrong during the game if compared
Mm,
to Holding and Caleb Chambers. So I think there's still redeeming
yeah,
qualities to Kolasinac as a player, even though recent history might suggest otherwise. And
yeah. I think I
yeah,
agree with your
I think
assessment.
it's not bad for us. It's not a win lose situation. I think it's a win win for both players and for the team. I think if he's able to perform, maybe he can provide the necessary backup, or even become the second choice center back behind Gabriel. If we see, you know, let's not forget that Pablo Mari is shambles during the first three games. His performance was was does not merit.
Play
his
poor.
selection against Manchester City, which Mikel Arteta, I think he 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 did that. He select Kolasinac ahead of Pablo Mari. Yeah, so I'm not gonna say that Kolasinac is bad for the club and he needs to go and whatnot. If he's able to prove to the manager time and time again, especially during the training, and the manager sees that he can improve, provide the level of performance needed, then I think fair play to him. I'm not gonna be against that. That's the Kolasinac situation.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Mm,
He's a professional.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, I think that's the transfer window closed. We've talked about all the players, uh,
Yeah.
the outgoings, the incomings, the players who should be moved on and didn't. We've talked about it. And what else should we talk about? Think yeah. Do you want to wrap it up?
I think that perfectly summarizes our transfer
Yeah.
window. Yeah. I think that's we spend a lot of money.
Yeah.
I think we spend at the
We
on the right players too.
yeah.
I think there's a clear strategy on the type of
Mm,
players we
mm,
want. It's now a matter of them,
mm,
like kicking on the training ground
mm.
and
What do you make
proving
of
to
the
the
situation
fans
that
that they are.
Arsenal have been the highest spenders during this transfer window? Do you think we have the best transfer window?
I wouldn't say it's the best transfer window. It definitely show
Mm-hmm.
ambition from the board and also the owner that we need to refresh our squad. There's a few things that they can improve, but I would rate it as a 6 out of 10 transfer window.
6 out of 10. Okay. Um, I think
Yeah,
it's
I
still
mean
still
just the fact that we
still too
couldn't
early to
sell
call.
the players and we just loan them out.
Yeah, I think it's still too early to call.
Yeah, on face value is 6 out of 10.
Mm,
Definitely too early to call, but
mm,
on face value is six out of
mm,
ten.
yeah, I think given the situation at Arsenal right now, the change in terms of personnel is needed for a few seasons now, and I think this transfer window, the manager and the and Edu as well has shown that they have gone all out to kind of replace key positions in the team. Given that context, I think regardless of who we sign, I think we did have a very successful transfer window. I'm gonna rate this transfer window an 8 because I think key positions, in the team has been addressed. They brought in promising talent, and not just that, those promising talent are able to perform on a much higher level than the current players. For example, like Sambi Lokonga, Martin Odegaard, even though he was on loan before that. Um, Tomiyasu, I think as well, solves the problem right back. Um, yeah, I think it's a very successful transfer window. 8 out of 10 for me. Hello.
Yeah, I think that wraps up our
Yeah.
episode 4. For I think
Yeah.
that wraps up the episode 4 of our Arsenal podcast.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. My laptop
What's your
battery is about to
prediction for
die.
Norwich game after the international break?
I'm done with
I
predictions,
think
man.
that calls it.
I'm done with predictions. I
uh,
don't want to predict anything.
I'm gonna be optimistic, and I'm gonna be optimistic that we're gonna win
Yeah.
3-0 at home.
I think that there's no doubt that we will win. But being Arsenal, I think we have to be prepared to what can happen as well. because
Definitely.
yeah. But I think I'm not gonna say that I think that we will win, but I think that the team should win.
Yeah, it's time. It's time to get some 3 points in it
Yeah.
and not be last.
Yeah.
Okay, mate. I think that's
Okay.
it.
I think my laptop is already minutes away from shutting down. Struggling to find the charger. Okay. Yeah. Okay, I think we should wrap this session.
Yeah. Thanks so
Yeah.
much.
Thanks, Harit, for
Let's
your
hope
opinion.
that we can kick on.
Yeah. There has been a very
Always
therapeutic.
a lot of opinion for this team.
There has been a very therapeutic session with you.
I hope your mental health is better after this session.
Yeah. Hope so. Yeah. Thanks, Harit. We hope that
All right, man.
we're gonna speak soon.
Yeah, hopefully after good three
Yeah.
points and probably see some actions in the
Yeah.
international break.
Okay. Thanks, man. All
Thank
right.
you.